Hello, I'm your host, Skeptical Scott.
And I am this week's co-host, Artie Fisher.
Welcome to Funny You Say That. What have you heard or read that made you scratch your head? You're not alone in your thinking. Part history, part diary, some music, and certainly a comedy of errors. So please join us as we drop the supernatural, embrace the rational, and believe in as many true things as possible. Hey Artie, what's the title of today's show?
Hey kid, do you want some candy?
What is the lesson we tell our kids about strangers? Don't talk to them, right? Well, this contrasts to how many of us remember our childhood back in the day. I'm not sure how old I was, but I was in the mid-single digits, probably 7 or 8. And at the time, we lived in an apartment complex that was large and had a lot of kids running around. I mean, this is a perfect setting for someone like the ice cream truck driver, as I'm pretty sure our complex was a cash cow for him. And as kids, we pretty much ran around in the woods outside the apartment complex or all over the parking lots for sure. And parents pretty much just said, get back before dark. And even very young, it was a bit chaotic, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, this kind of freedom and independence, I mean, that's awesome. Even if it meant the occasional cut or bruise, just, rub some dirt on it and keep playing around. Well, one day, a small bus pulled up. Now, maybe it was a van, like a big van. But in my brain, it's a small bus. And from my memory, it wasn't quite a school bus, but it looked like one. It was a church bus. And this guy was collecting kids for a fun church-sponsored event just for the kids that were nearby. So he stepped out and he said, "Hey, kid, want some candy?" Well, hell yeah. Okay, now he didn't sound that creepy. I'm sure he was nice, and I didn't respond quite that way, but it's not that far off. So the man proceeded to tell me that if I got on the bus and participated with their fun kids event, I'd get a whole candy bar. All I needed was my parents' permission. I should tell them that it won't be longer than 30 minutes and that we'd just be down the hill. Well, shoot. I wanted that chocolate and a whole candy bar, not like the tiny pieces we get at Halloween. So I said, Mom, I'm going to a church thing, okay? No response from Mom. Maybe she was in the bathroom. I don't know. Maybe my older brother was supposed to be watching me. Who knows? But I do remember I didn't wait to hear a response, and I just ran straight back. And that beautiful Hershey's candy bar was on my mind. I was already drooling. And by this time, when I got to the bus, there were a few other kids loading on that short bus too. When I saw the man, I just said, "My mom said it was okay." And he gave me a Hershey chocolate bar. And I quickly found a seat. I consumed that Hershey's chocolate. It was delicious. Dare I say, it was divine. Now, I don't remember the details of the 30-minute lesson, but I do remember being outside with a bunch of other kids. And there was some kind of lesson about some dude named Jesus and that he loved us. And then we loaded back into the bus and we were dropped right back off near our apartment, less than a mile away. I'm pretty sure my mom never knew. And I also don't remember any of my siblings being there, which, that made me feel kind of cool, being the youngest and out on my own. So this represents my earliest memory of what the church promises, something edible, a group to laugh with, and someone who's not present but loves us forever. Yeah. So what was your earliest memory of a church? And what did that church or group promise you? Today, you can't just pull up to apartments, pass out candy, and gather a bunch of kids, but if you were in charge of an organization or building that relies on the participation and eventual funding from families, what are the promises you'd give? Fast forward, I've visited many churches, and many of them will entice you with hot coffee, maybe even a coffee bar. Childcare for an hour to entertain the kids, where they may even get some candy. The babies are taken care of. And for those middle schoolers, we can even set up an Xbox. And how about entertainment for the adults?
Our God, there is no one like our God. Sing it with me. There is no one, no other gods before him.
Sometimes complete with a light show, music, but for sure some time to just sit back and relax. Now, I know, maybe the word entice is too strong. I mean, most of the time, these are not nefarious reasons to get people in the door. And certainly, as hosts, we're going to prepare a place for our people. I mean, there is a universal need to belong somewhere, and a warm welcome at the door brings us in. But pause. I mean, look at this again. How does the church get us in the door? And how does the church today turn us into a sort of consumer so we will stay? And after that, one thing that makes people return is the security that is promised. You know what I mean? The eternal fire insurance kind. Or the insurance that you'll get to see your loved ones again. Hey, and that can be appealing, right? I'm sure some of you might be thinking, well, that's not my church, but what I just described was the blueprint that I observed from 3 of the churches that I've attended. Now, the Catholic Church, that was a little different, but that's it for now. We will dive into that one soon on another Funny You Say That Friday.
We think it's real important to question what you know before you leave the podcast. It's the skeptic of the show.
All right. Neal Shusterman is an American author from Brooklyn, New York, best known for writing fantasy and dystopian novels. And here is something that he once wrote.
The sad truth about humanity is that people believe what they're told. Maybe not the first time, but by the 100th time, the craziest of ideas just becomes a given. Neal Shusterman.
So yes, when we invite guests over to our house, we're going to set the table, right? We're going to make it welcoming. And when you think of the church, I want you to pause and look again. How does the church get us in the door? And how does the church today turn us into a sort of consumer so we'll stay? And once we're there, is there anything that they're telling us, maybe for the 100th time, that we simply consume and believe?
Questioning beliefs, no end. Searching for the truth, my friend. No gods, no chains to tie me down. Free to think in my own town. Reading books and asking why. No more living by the lie. Science light, it guides my way. Every night and every day. Breaking free from old restrictions.
Thanks for listening to Funny You Say That. Our intro music was created by an anonymous supporter of the show. Thanks, man. And any other music or sound effects were created by this week's co-host, Artie Fisher.
Do you have a question, comment, or a request? Send us a text. In the show's description, you can also find Skeptical Scott on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Drop the supernatural, embrace the rational, believe in as many true things as possible.
Otherwise, you might end up believing in something even more artificial than me.
May skeptical thoughts be with you.
And also with you.
See you next Friday. Cheers.